Welcome back. I'm John Stuhl. We're reading Rescue the Night, and we're at Chapter 4. I don't know when he comes. Thompson stared at the other two, her voice tinged with frustration. He's not my pet dog, you know. Lily yawned like a python about to swallow a crocodile. Carly reached for a pillow and wrapped up in a blanket as she lay down on the huge bed, her eyes fluttering shut. Well, wake me if he gets here. Carly's words slurred with drowsiness. 'Cause I want some of that silver goo. Aren't you going to watch? Thompson's frustration had grown by the minute. She wanted her two best friends to see the Sandman, and not just to prove she was right. There was something important about Lily and Carly meeting him, though Thompson didn't know what it was. Sis, I can't stay awake either, Lily said, motioning to a sleepy Carly. Even if he doesn't come, it's been a great night. The three girls had made their own pizzas, fried donuts with the sisters' mom and dad, and crafted stories so fantastic and funny that Carly had declared, "Oh no, I'm going to wet the couch." Lily's eyes shut, and Thompson reached over to pull another blanket over her sister. Gotta let it go, Thompson muttered to herself. If he comes, he comes. I can always wake them. She looked at Carly and Lily, both fast asleep, and her heart twisted. She couldn't imagine life without them. Then she took a pillow and her quilt over to the window, rested her cheek on the sill, and watched the twinkling stars. Waiting for me? Soft as it was, Thompson didn't hear the voice at first. With a sudden jolt, she sat up. A glow in the dark room, floating above the floorboards, the Sandman smiled at her. I didn't know if you'd ever come again, Thompson whispered, or if you'd let my friends see you. She glanced over at the two sleeping girls. The Sandman followed her gaze, and his lips tipped up gently. They are special too, he murmured. Can they meet you? I want them to see. The Sandman rubbed the tip of his nose with one finger and nodded. In a moment, Thompson beamed and then simply stared at her new mysterious friend. How could he need her help? But I do need your help, Thompson Lee, the Sandman said, as if reading her thoughts again. The world is getting dark, in a bad way, and it's getting sad. There's a good dark? Yes, there's a beautiful dark, but there's also a sad, heavy dark that is only harmful, and the second kind is growing. A beautiful dark? Thompson's mind turned over the idea like a new toy. She snapped her fingers and pointed at the Sandman. Where light comes and mingles. Exactly. Thompson tingled with excitement at the Sandman's nod. Completely awake now, she leaned towards the Sandman. But why is the bad dark growing? The glums are getting stronger, and they are eating the light. Who are they? Well, they are, the glums, the Sandman said, shrugging. You should stop them. Thompson crossed her arms to stress her point. I can't, Thompson Lee. I don't have that kind of power. But you're amazing. You can float. You can fly. You said yourself you had all kinds of magic. Thompson's eyes were wide with surprise and concern. Ah, that magic is marvelous. But this will take a different kind of magic. Something I don't have. The Sandman's face appeared surprisingly calm and peaceful. Can't you try? Thompson whispered. That's why I need you. The Sandman smiled and the room shimmered with light. "Can you introduce me to your friends?" Thompson vaulted onto the bed, pulling at Lily and Carly. "Wake up! He's here!" Thompson barely remembered to keep her voice low, not wanting to wake her parents. "Ooh," Lily cooed, sitting up and rubbing her eyes. With a quick thrust of her arm, she snagged the hem of the Sandman's jacket and yanked sharply. The Sandman bobbed up and down like a cork on water. He chuckled, and his hand shot out to flip the end of Lily's nose. Thousands of sparks flew in every direction. Lily barked a laugh and then slapped her hands over her mouth. Mostly awake by now, Carly watched, eyes widening with amazement. "Miss Lily Connor, Miss Carly Elise, it is my pleasure to make your acquaintance." The Sandman bowed low, sweeping the funny hat off his head and causing light to scatter and break into a million rainbows. "Why do you use our middle names?" Thompson had wondered about this since her first encounter with the Sandman. "Middle names add magic," he answered mysteriously. "Can I have some silver?" Carly blurted, her initial shock gone. "And I want some magic stuff too," Lily said. "You both shall have gifts." The Sandman smiled broadly. "And more than just my specialty, which is making dreams bright." "How do you fly?" Thompson asked. She turned towards the window as if asking him to carry her out, and caught sight of the others peering in. "And who are they?" "Those are the night children," the Sandman answered, and the thousands of tiny twinkling lights floating outside the window pane winked on and off excitedly. They were so minuscule, Thompson could just make out their odd, funny faces. "Cute gnats," Lily said. Thompson punched her arm. "Quicker than gnats, and with magnificent skills," the Sandman said, and snapped his fingers. Light dust flew everywhere. Before the girls could rid their eyes of sleepy sand, the night children swarmed into the room, darting around until a mist of light surrounded all three children. The tiny night creatures flew faster and faster, the air glowed, and the girls slowly rose until they hovered a foot over the bed. Next, the night children swooshed beneath the girls, whose mouths hung open, and in a blur of motion, the tiny beings wove a carpet of light, thin as a moonbeam and twice as bright. Their eyes wide, the three girls stared at the Sandman, who simply chuckled. With a wave of his hand, he announced, "You wanted to know how I fly? By moonlight and starlight, midnight light, and the light of my night children. So come fly with me." Thompson and Carly gripped each other's hands as Lily leaned forward over the front edge of the shimmering light carpet. They moved towards the window and flew at the glass with growing speed. "Uh-oh," Thompson muttered. Carly shut her eyes and let out a high-pitched squeal that sounded like a tea kettle whistling. And without slowing, the three girls passed right through the window pane. Outside, they sailed fast and high over the front yard, rising above the tall, red-leafed maples and the giant oak tree across the street. Faster still they flew, and higher, above power lines, ridge lines, and even topping the cell tower on the hill. Carly held the side of the light carpet for dear life, gasping with amazement. Thompson crouched on her knees beside her sister, and they both grinned wildly. As the homes and trees shrank, Lily shouted, "Now this is a rug!" The light carpet floated beside the Sandman, who hovered in the air. He stepped onto the carpet, bearing the girls, and snapped his fingers again. The millions of light children flew up and around them, leaving the rug of light they'd woven. The girls heard a low, musical buzzing. "They're singing!" Thompson exclaimed. "The night children know how to sing." "Sing, schming! I want to fly one of these babies!" Lily now stood next to the Sandman on their light carpet and rocked it from side to side. A mischievous grin crept across her face. "Lily Connor, you love the adventure," the Sandman said. At the same moment, Carly shouted for her to stop, and Thompson laughed at the strangeness of it all. "Don't worry," the Sandman told the girls. "The night children won't let you fall. At least, not far." He laughed playfully and then said more seriously, "Ready?" The three girls fell silent and nodded. "Tonight is for answering wishes, so here is some magic for you." The Sandman whistled, and the night children swarmed the light carpet once more. The section Lily stood on suddenly separated from the rest. "Justice!" she yelled, pumping her fist. "Hey, I want to fly too!" Thompson shouted, jumping to her feet. "Then fly your light carpet," the Sandman answered quickly, and with a wave of his hand he called out, "Magic flight time!" The Sandman rocketed upward with Thompson close behind. Carly moaned with fear, enthusiasm, or nausea. Thompson couldn't tell. The Sandman halted by a pulsing green star, and Thompson, who stopped next to him, realized Lily wasn't there. Scanning the area anxiously, Thompson spotted her sister and hooted. In their wake, Lily crouched low, with arms spread wide, as if riding a glimmering surfboard through the night sky. Thompson watched her shift on the light carpet, bank sharply to the left, rise with startling speed, and swoosh past their heads, close enough for her slipstream to feather their bangs. "Yeah!" Lily shouted, making an impossible 180-degree turn and pulling up next to them. With a wicked punch of the air, she fixed sparkling eyes on her sister. "Thompson, to answer your question, yes, now I believe in the Sandman." "Thompson Lee, Carly Elise, Lily Connor, come, explore the night with me." Spinning like a top, the Sandman took off, aiming for a bright blue star. Time stood still for the three girls as the Sandman, accompanied by the million points of light that were the night children, blasted through the dark sky. Right through the hearts of forming stars they flew, around glowing sky worms whose ghostly cloud bodies shimmered with brilliant greens and violets. They skimmed planets where the oddest of creatures roamed, stopping once to watch a time dragon shake his head and roar, sending millions of fiery asteroids sailing in every direction. Silent and still, they witnessed a star mother giving birth to 7 red dwarfs. The 4 watched in wonder as the dwarf babies snacked on space dust and then fled into a distant dark corner of the sky. But best of all was their return, when the Sandman brought them soaring around Old Sol, and the girls looked past Venus and Mercury to see their own marvelous blue marble of Earth shining in the blackness. "She's so beautiful," Carly whispered, cocking her head to one side as she studied their planet. "So alive," Thompson added. "And the soul of the galaxy the Sandman said, with the first hint of concern Thompson had heard from him. As they dropped towards Mother Earth and past the shining moon, the night children started their musical humming again, louder this time. Thompson's brow creased as she listened. After a moment, her forehead smoothed, and she said to Lily and Carly, "They're singing their love. The moon must be their partner." Their blue home in space grew rapidly closer and then darkened as they sped through the Earth's atmosphere and into the night sky. "Now, for one last piece of magic," the Sandman said, and their light carpet sped down towards their own town and zoomed into their neighborhood. Gently as a feather, they descended, finally hovering in front of a dark bungalow. "That's Perry Cooper's house," Lily said quietly. As they stared, the walls of the house faded, and they could see their classmate Perry asleep in his bed. As they gawked in amazement, images expanded out into the darkness, acquiring form and motion. It was like watching a movie take shape from a small point of light to impossibly magnified images and sounds. Only this time, the images surrounded the girls as if they were part of another world. The earth shook as a herd of wild horses swept past, and the three smelled the sage-tinged, dry plateau air. A hot sun toasted their backs, and a bird's call drew their attention. Looking up, they saw Perry as an eagle, copper-colored feathers set off against the bright blue sky. He winged towards the herd of galloping horses and became the lead stallion. The horse swelled, and its eyes became the fierce gold of the eagle's. Wings burst from each horse's back. Abruptly, the images were gone. Lily, Thompson, and Carly hung in the air with eyes wide and mouths gaping. "What was that?" Thompson asked. The Sandman smiled broadly, and the moonlight around them brightened. "What do you guess?" "I know," Carly shouted in excitement. "It was Perry's dream. We just saw his dream." Turning to the other girls, Carly continued, "You know how he loves horses and always talks about wanting to be a fighter pilot." "A little part of his dream," the Sandman nodded. "The rest is just for him." "But you gave him the dream," Lily said. "Not quite. I gave him some help with his own magic, and he took off from there." Thompson squinted in concentration. "Mr. Sandman, what were the dark edges for?" She had noticed the colors and texture of Perry's dream, dimmed at the edges, and throughout the sky there had been hair-thin strands of black. The moonlight faded, and Sandman looked sad. "That's the spreading dark, Thompson. It's creeping into children's dreams everywhere. It even spills over into their daily lives." "Can't you stop it? You've got powerful juju in that bag of sand," Lily said. As they talked, the girls were drifting towards their own street, and each felt their eyelids getting heavy. "My magic can't stop them," the Sandman answered as they floated through Thompson's bedroom window. The night children lowered the girls onto the bed as gently as blue speckled eggs settled into a feather-lined nest. As the girls drifted towards sleep, the Sandman's voice floated over them like a breeze. "That's a magic only children can make." The Sandman took a pinch of glittering sand from his pouch and tossed it in an arc of flashing star points over the now slumbering girls. "Good dreams, beautiful, powerful dreams," he whispered. The night children watched, holding their breath with delight. As they drew back from the Sandman, he paused and bent at the window sill. Then, with a silent swoosh, they all disappeared into the night sky.